Hi, folks. Jeffrey Grossman here, and thanks again for joining us with another installment of a live broadcast from the American Acupuncture Council, bringing you some great information on business building and marketing and coding and all these great things streaming to you live. So, I have some very special guests that are joining me here today, and we're going to be talking about how to set up your website to attract new patients. And with me today, we are going to have the team from our sister company called AcuPerfect Websites. We're going to have Ben Thibert and Ken Moorhouse that will be joining us to answer some of those questions that have come in over the years around, attracting patients to your website. So thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ken, for joining me here today.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Thanks, Jeffrey, for having us. Thank you, AAC.
Yeah, awesome. Good. So, a lot of practitioners are, they just assume they can just put a website up there and just attract patients, and these throngs of patients just start streaming into their door. And that's pretty much further from the truth. And so I kind of want to get some clarity, that you guys can share based upon the fact that you work with hundreds of acupuncturists, you build hundreds of websites every single month. You're managing these services for them, and so you've got your finger on the pulse, literally. I think that it would be great to kind of share some of this insight and some of this information with our members. So, one of the first questions that I've heard over the past, and you guys probably hear about it too, because I think a lot of our clients come over from other companies to join ours. So what are some important things that people miss when they're doing their own website on services like Squarespace and Wix?
Yeah, so I think one of the most important things to think about when you're building your website is content. Content is what drives traffic to your website. So when you write content about TCM and acupuncture and the different conditions that you treat, people in your community will have access to that if you set up your website correctly. So content is still king. Bill Gates coined that term back in 1996. And he was talking about the future of the internet, and sure enough, content is still king on the internet. So it's really important that you write good quality content on your website, and that can be blog posting. We'll talk a little bit about that, and you can also talk about landing pages as well. So in terms of blog posting, you want to write some content about TCM and acupuncture and how it can help conditions, and be sure that when you're writing your content, it doesn't have to be very long. 600 words will suffice. But you want to have a good quality post that talks about the condition, your location, how you help people in your community with those conditions, and what modalities you may use. So that's a really good way to start attracting traction and getting people to visit your website. The other part of that is also landing pages are really important. Ben, did you want to talk a little bit about landing pages?
Yeah, just content in general. One thing
Sure.
that we see is, Google doesn't rank sites based on how they look. It's all based on what's on the site and the content. So you could have a beautiful website, but if you don't have the content on your homepage or your about page that matches what people are searching for, you're not going to get ranked. You're not going to get people to your website. Having a good-looking website is important, but not in Google's eyes. So it's important to have, like on your homepage, for example, you want to make sure you list all the services you provide. You want to list the main conditions that you treat. So when people are searching for acupuncture for back pain, it's going to come up. It's one thing we see missed a lot is people will have, maybe their mission statement or some, quote that they like on the homepage, but they don't have any information about what they do or what they offer, or even sometimes where they're even located. People miss that. So you want to make sure you have all that stuff that Google is going to pick up and use to rank your site in your content across all your pages. Put your address. It seems like it's basic stuff, but it's amazing how many people, it's hard to find where they're located or what their phone number is. You have to dig through all their pages to find it. That's something that's missed a lot. And as Ken mentioned, landing pages, that's where you can get a little more detailed. So you can kind of use your homepage to list your general overview of what you do, what you offer. But if there's a specific service that you provide or a condition that you treat that you want to really focus on, you can create a whole separate page for that. And that's just called a landing page. So, for example, if you focus on anxiety. You can have a whole landing page that talks about how acupuncture can help with anxiety, the different treatments that you offer, kind of your plan that you, when someone comes in to treat anxiety. But the important thing is to have a separate page that has all your good keywords in there that Google's going to pick up and use to rank you for different conditions.
I think, yeah, I think that's a big thing that people overlook is they just assume that they have a pretty looking website and that it's just going to be the patient attraction tool for them. But having content with specific meta tags and alt tags and title tags, I mean, that's stuff that, is what it's what you guys do. It's what you guys focus
Yeah.
on, which isn't what a lot of practitioners do in that way. But like that, when people like type in acupuncture, back pain, Seattle, all of that information should be part of the content on some level, right?
Yep. Yeah, we could talk a little more about the meta tags too. So it's one thing that we see missed a lot is if someone does their website on Squarespace or something, even if they have great content on the page itself, we'll see that their title tag for the page is just the word home, or something really generic. But that the title tag is like the most important meta tag. That's what Google uses to actually list your site in the listings. So each page will use your title tag, and that's what shows up when you search in Google are the title tags for each page. So you need to make sure that you have all your information in your title tag. That you have to keep it short. I think it's something like 60 characters, but you want to have your business name and your city. And if your business name doesn't include the word acupuncture, you want to make sure that you have that in there as well. So you are targeting acupuncture in your city in your title tags. That's something we see missed a lot, is the title tags aren't set. And it's something you have to go and manually do when you're in Wix and Squarespace. You have to go and set those for each page.
To your point too, Jeffrey, alt tags are sort of treated the same way. So anytime you have an image that you upload to your website, make sure you have a good description of that image and also include some of that information, some of the keywords that we're talking about, your city, location, and then a description of the image. And that really helps out with SEO and Google ranking.
Right.
Yeah,
so instead of having a picture of just...
I was going to mention that that's a big part of we'll talk a little bit about ADA compliance too, and accessibility, and alt tags are a big part of that. But go ahead, Jeffrey.
Right. So as far as title tags, clarification on that, the title tag is the title of whatever content piece you're putting out, whatever blog post you're putting out, right?
It's the title of that page.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yep.
Okay. And then as far as pictures go, Ken, that's a really good point, because a lot of people just put up pictures like, oh, me at the beach, right? Or whatever that is, or me doing moxa, or me doing cupping. But like, it's, I mean, if someone puts up a picture of cupping, it should be like Jeffrey's Acupuncture Clinic, Seattle, cupping, right? That should be the title.
Or treating patient with cupping or something similar to that effect. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because that all plays into like getting searched. When the search engine crawlers are out there, they'll search not only the title tags but the other alt tags in the photos, which is, I think I never knew that until I started, you guys started jumping into the websites and informing us around that. So cool. So what is another question is like, what's the best way for practitioners to reach more prospects in their community? Like, how can they get out there and be more forward facing so people, when they are searching, that they're found?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that people miss as a practitioner is setting up their Google My Business account. So if you go to google.com/business, you can create a listing inside of Google, and Google will rank your website better when you create that listing. And what it does is essentially it tells Google what you do, the services you offer, and it also verifies that you're actually a real business. And that's really important to get better ranking in search results. And also too, it allows you to appear on Google Maps, which is really important because your patients will go to Google Maps to try to seek you out. And part of Google Maps includes reviews, and reviews are really important. So if you think about going to a restaurant and you choose a 5-star restaurant that your peers have reviewed at 5 stars versus a 1-star restaurant, you want to be part of that community that Google is putting in front of you. And that's through Google My Business. So Google My Business is a really important way of getting in front of your community and making sure that you're ranking well for some of the conditions and the modalities that we mentioned earlier.
And Google My Business, it's free, right? There's no cost to getting that set up.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's no cost,
through
but
Google itself.
sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There are a lot of third parties. I'm sure a lot of people have gotten calls from, uh, solicitors calling in saying, "Hey, we'll set up your Google business for you for X amount of dollars, hundreds of dollars," but it is free through Google if you do it yourself.
Mhm.
And a lot of times too, Google will use the yellow page listings to auto generate your Google business listing, but it's usually lacking a lot of content. It's just the basics. So even if you have one up there, you want to make sure that you go to google.com/business and claim the listing if it exists already. Go through the verification process, and then you have full access to put all your information in, make sure your hours are up to date. During COVID, you can list your specific COVID changes that you have on your listing, and also have access to the reviews so you can interact with the reviews that come in. That's one thing that is important is, you want to make sure that you're encouraging your patients to leave reviews, and then that you are going in there and actually responding to the reviews and interacting with them. And that shows Google that you're, not only have a lot of patients coming in because they're leaving reviews for you, but you're actually being proactive and using your listing and responding to both positive and negative reviews, hopefully all positive, but you can still go in and just say thank you to people who leave reviews. And that's something that Google noticed. And if you're really active with your listing, you'll start bumping up in the rank, especially if you're in a competitive area where there's dozens of competitors trying for that the top 3 spots on Google Maps are the really important spot to get to, because that's where you show up kind of on the first page when you search something that shows like just a couple map results. When you search, you want to, it'd be great if you can get up in that top 3 spot. So reviews will help a lot with that.
Yeah, because these days people don't really scroll past the first page when they do a Google search.
Yeah.
And, the first thing that shows up there are, I think, paid ads, and then sort of the map, like the map listings,
Yeah.
and then other generic rankings. Is that right?
Yeah, the
Yeah. I mean,
organic
that's one
rankings
thing that,
fall under that.
yeah, a lot of people come to us, thinking there's a quick way to click one button and get to the first page of Google. And, it's a process, especially if you're in a competitive area. If you're in a smaller town, it is possible to get up to the first page within a month or so. But if you're in a competitive market, it's going to take time to build the ranking up and get to the first page or two. But the easy, quick way to get to the first page is through the ads. And I mean, it definitely is the cost involved. It can get expensive doing Google ads, especially in a big market, but that's really the only way to guarantee to get to the top spot immediately.
Right, by paying for the ads, hiring someone
Yeah.
to run the ads, or doing them yourself. Yeah,
Yep.
right. And then around that, there's so many different parameters that you've got to abide by in order to, make sure you're not stepping on their terms of service or terms of use around that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so Google Maps, yeah, will help people get found. Google reviews are really important. Is there anything else that you can think of that is another good way for practitioners to, be found online?
Yeah, I think it just really is to summarize everything. Like Google My Business is great in setting it up, but we have to also remember that Google loves fresh content, right? So if you've got a website that you've built and it looks great and it just goes dormant because you're not adding fresh content to it related to the service that you provide, then most likely it will drop in organic ranking. So you've got the paid advertising, you got the map, and then you have the organic. You want to get into that organic space, the first page of Google, and that's what takes time. So writing good quality blog posts about your practice and the conditions you treat is really important. So you got to keep feeding Google that content, and the more you feed it, the higher you will rank compared to a site that doesn't post anything. So that's really what drives your ranking. And then there's some other factors that we talked about, like alt tags and meta tags.
Got it.
Another thing I want to mention too is, especially if you're starting out and your site's new and you're, starting at kind of from square one, you're buried in the listings. It's going to be hard to get people organically go into your site. They're not going to find you on the 5th page of Google. So one of the important things to do when you're first starting out is to find other ways to get traffic to your site. So that's through, if you have a social media following, you can start putting your blog posts onto social media so people click through to your website. If you have like a newsletter list, sending out newsletters that link out to your website, even just if first starting out, just sending your website to friends and family and have them visit, because Google will see the traffic start picking up, and that'll say, oh, people are getting to this website. This must be important enough to move up the rankings a bit. It must be relevant. So that's one thing that I think sometimes people miss. If you build your website and it's brand new and it's sitting on the 5th page of Google, you got to find other ways people to get to the website first before it can, start moving up to the first page or so.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. Another thing that I've heard in the past, and maybe you guys can shed some light on this, is the fact that it's important to have your website be mobile ready in order to, is that helpful for rankings at all or anything like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's something that it seems like it's becoming more standard now. I mean, it is the standard, so we see it less and less of people not having mobile ready site, but we still do see it. So having a mobile ready site super important. If people are searching for businesses, they're doing it from their phone 90% of the time. So you want to make sure your website's mobile friendly, because Google will tell if it's not, and then they will lower your rank on mobile searches if you're not mobile friendly, because they want the sites that are easy to use are the first ones that are popping up. So that's super important to be mobile ready. You can search on Google, and Google has its own mobile ready test that you can go and plug in your website, and it'll tell you if it's coming back as mobile friendly or not. And then the other thing is having SSL security is really important. That gives you that little lock icon in your browser that shows that you're secure. That's pretty much standard at this point. It's every host should have an easy way for you to get that. Google will even say not secure if you don't have the SSL security on your site, and that just gives people peace of mind when they're sending the contact form through or messaging you. So, yeah, mobile friendly and SSL are super important to have. And at this point, if you don't have it, then you're kind of behind the times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and you could tell, like, there's a big difference between the way a website loads that's mobile friendly versus a website that is not mobile friendly. Because I mean, some of the sites that you guys have worked on, literally, like, there's a big button. You just click to call, click to schedule, click to send a message, right? I mean, that's just seems super efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's important to make it easy. And then one thing that we can also mention too is, having your website get found is one thing, but you want to make sure that it's easy to use once people get there. You want to make sure that it's easy. You want to have a really strong call to action. So when someone gets to your site, they know what to do next. They know to contact you. They see a big, contact us button. One thing you can do is, go to your website and see how long it takes you to find the button to make an appointment or to call. And if it takes more than 2 or 3 clicks, then you probably need to make it a little easier for people to find, because people will give up quick and move on to the next thing if it's not easy to use or easy to find what they want.
Yeah, and it's also important to put that call to action closer to the top of the page so that people don't have to scroll down to get to it. You want to make sure it's front and center. And like Ben said, 2 or 3 clicks to take the person down the path that you want them to go down is the key. So go to your website and check it out and see how long it takes you to contact yourself. So
Right, or what call to action you have like available
sure.
on your site. It's like, you need to
Yeah.
have a schedule now, call me now, download this free report now, and all this stuff like right front and center. So if
Yeah.
people don't schedule with you right away, what's the next action that they can then take to, communicate or reach out to you or just
Yep.
stay in your loop?
And one thing you could do is, contact maybe an elderly relative or patient, and have them go and test your site. Hey, is this, can you find how to do this? Someone who hasn't been to your site, maybe it's kind of not super tech savvy, and to see if it's easy for them to
Navigate. Yeah.
navigate the site and get to what they want. Because if you're in there every day working on it, it's easy for you because you know everything is, but sometimes you kind of forget that other people don't have the prior knowledge to know where everything is like you do. So kind of seeing some fresh eyes on your site and see if it's easy to use, that's important.
Cool. Okay, so well, I think that those are all the main questions that I have for you. Is there anything else that you guys want to share?
Yeah, I think one thing that we we're going to talk a little bit about, just because it was a kind of a came up this year, is ADA accessibility.
Yes.
It's one thing that, beginning of the year, there were a lot of kind of reports of practitioners getting sued for their website not being accessible, mostly out of California. So, what's one thing that we looked at a lot this year is, making sure that our sites are as compliant as they can be. We got all extra tools in there for accessibility, but just to talk about a few things if you're doing the site yourself to look for. The important thing with ADA accessibility is, one of the most important things is making sure that your website is usable with just a keyboard without a mouse. That'll kind of mimic too what if people are using like voice commands to use a website, you want to make sure that everything is accessible. So you can go and test your site and make sure that you can, for example, navigate through your menu with just your tab key and your space bar, making sure you can get to pages just using your keyboard. That's an important thing to do. We mentioned alt tags before in images. If someone's blind and using a screen reader to go through your website, you want to make sure that all the important images have the descriptive alt tag behind them. So if someone can't actually see the screen, it'll describe what the image is. So patient receiving acupuncture or something on an acupuncture picture. So that's really important. That's one thing that people get dinged is they'll run through a website using a screen reader and to see if it's broken or not, and that's kind of is a red flag if your site's not easy to use with a screen reader or a keyboard. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that, Ken?
Well,
Yeah, I think the other part of that screen readers is being aware of your heading tags. So your heading tags are basically the different sections of a page, and screen readers need to be able to determine what those sections are. So if you have a section about what is acupuncture and then some information, then the next section is what is moxibustion, that kind of thing. So headings are important part of ADA accessibility. And like Ben said, AcuPerfect websites includes the accessibility testing, making sure that your site is built correctly to meet most of the requirements. And we try to do our best to guide you along the way. If you want to make changes yourself, we give you the tips and tricks on how to make sure that when you're uploading content or adding images, how to make that content ADA accessible, so that you don't get dinged by any of the ADA lawyer stuff that's going on right now in California.
cool. And one last thing. Go on. I'm sorry, Ben.
I was going to say, if anyone, feel free to contact us. We're happy to, take a look at your website. We do have an evaluation available. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about this. We're happy to go in more detail with you. Actually look at your website.
Yeah. So if you guys want a free website evaluation, there is a link right now that's up on the screen, and I guess once you go to that page, you submit your site, and Ben or Ken or Ian will reach out to you and take the next steps to evaluate your website. And one thing that's I think really important to get across is the fact that a lot of times when you work with Wix or Squarespace, the practitioner is actually working on and building and updating and doing the website and upkeeping it and doing it all themselves. Whereas what you guys do, like day in, day out, you guys are doing all that for our clients, right?
Right. You didn't go to acupuncture school to become a web tech builder, right? So
Right.
that's what we're here for. We take that off of your hands, and it frees up more of your time so that you can treat more patients. You can attract more patients too through our service, which is great. So that's why we're here. We've been building websites since 2011, so we've been going for 10 years now. It's been a great ride. So
it's actually Ben's baby, but don't tell anyone.
Right? Yeah.
So how can people get in touch with you guys? So other than the evaluation, is that the best way?
Yeah, just go to that site. They'll have our other links there for signing up for a free trial if you want to try us out. The free trial is really easy. You just give us your information. We'll set up a new site for you, even if you already have an existing one. We'll set it up at a temporary address so you can kind of just see how it is, click around, see how it works, and be ready to go. If you want to make the switch, we make it all easy. We do all the tech stuff for you. You don't have to be knowledgeable in any of that. Try to make it as easy as possible.
Yep, and one last thing. So you just mentioned switch. So a lot of people are scared to switch over because they think it's a daunting, massively huge thing to do. So, but like, that's what you do? Like, you literally do that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's super simple. Yeah.
We do it. Yeah, we do it in a way so there's no downtime. We'll build your whole new site kind of at a temporary page so you can see it, make sure you approve it. Once everything's in place, then it's just a quick little switch at your domain name and everything goes live and there's no downtime. So we walk you through all the steps that you need and do as much as we can from our end to keep all the tech stuff out of your hands so you can just get to work.
Sounds good. Well, thanks guys for joining me here today and sharing some insights and wisdom with the AAC and those that are watching here. Next week you can join Sam Collins is going to be here, and he's going to be talking about some great things on billing and insurance. So come back then. Other than that, thanks guys again for joining us. Thank you, the AAC, for allowing me to bring some guests on board to share some insight and some wisdom. So thanks everybody. Take care. Bye Ben. Bye Ken. Bye.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Thank you.